And
the hard sport.
Our next competitor,
John McCready knows that.
John McCready.
And probably the hardest element in all of his gymnastics for him to get around is the second move. He does the same mount and same second move that we saw from Roethlisberger just a minute ago. A little bit off right here. This is...
Oh.
Ouch. That hurts in just about every way. Hurts the arms, and it's gonna do a little damage in the tally at the end too. Didn't really complete that element. John has a very nice line throughout gymnastics. Very calm looking. But he also had some costly errors in that routine.
We'll get John McCready's score in a moment. Now it's Ina Skarupa. It has to be a tremendous honor for her to have Lilia Podkopaeva, the Olympic all-around gold medalist from Atlanta, here in attendance watching and obviously having a good time.
Living now in St. Petersburg, Florida, coaching at one of the local clubs. She's actually done a lot better than I thought she would when she arrived for the training sessions. Again, didn't really see any full routines. Oops, a little bit of a problem there on that element. What she does have on this apparatus, however, is a beautiful line. She has that typical look that these athletes from this part of the world train so hard at. Wonderful dance elements.
And just tremendous carriage and presence throughout.
This was actually the one apparatus that she didn't perform on at the World Championships for her team.
A lot of great gymnasts have come from this country. Of course, Podkopaeva we just mentioned, but the Olympic champion before that, Tatiana Gutsu in 1992, and Victoria Karpenko, one of this young lady's teammates, certainly a contender to win that title next time out.
She's doing some rather simple movements. The start value on this routine is actually going to be fairly low. It looks like she's just not ready for the start of the season, not quite in routine shape. As you said before, Al, little problems here and little problems there, and they're all adding up.
John McCready's tally, a 9.025 on the parallel bars.
How you like that one, CY? Straight shoulder stand, baby.
Shoulder stand. Talking about that mount.
Our next competitor,
He's going to feel that for a few days, I'll tell you.
That had to really hurt.
It does hurt.
Jordan Yovchev. Now, Tim, we see virtually everybody doing it now. This release where you catch the bars in your armpits. You wince every time you see it. Whose bright idea was it to start this?
Well, I tell you, when it was introduced, it was like a collective groan throughout the community. It's like, you've got to be kidding. Don't go there. But just like that, that's how you get the big points.
Some do it really well.
You saw the legs smash on the bars there. That will be a deduction.
And folks, you really should see the armpits and the bicep muscles of these gymnasts who do this release move. They're black and blue. They've got some scarring.
All for the thrill of the game. Yeah, this is definitely very early in the season for Jordan.
And remember, he's been ill with the flu. You saw his low vault score. It was only a 9.0. He says he only vaults twice a month.
Ina Skarupa, balance beam score of 9.050. It's on the low side. Now Liu Wei of China, 9.125 on the vault, 9.2 on bars. Now, It's actually a little bit of a major thing for her to be able to mount the balance beam the way she does.
You know, this was interesting. She started gymnastics when she was 7, and she told us that her parents were concerned about her overall health. She was always sick as a child. They felt that she had no strength, so they got her involved in gymnastics. Maybe it was just the time change and, you know, the long hours of travel. When she showed up for training, she did very little. And again, I was disappointed thinking, oh boy, what is she going to show us at the competition? But she's done much better than both Tim and I expected her to do. Solid so far. This was the only event that she competed for the Chinese team when they were in Richmond, Virginia for the international event. One of her strengths.
A little bit too long, connecting that front flip.
Yeah, we talked about those connections, and in order to get the 1/10 or the 2/10, depending on the difficulty of the connection, you cannot have any pauses. But, you know, she's flying through this routine. A little bit of a simple dismount there.
Yeah, very odd, because she could definitely do something
Much more difficult.
She's capable. Good enough gymnast, no question.
Yovchev's score, he's not as happy as he was after the still rings. Parallel bars, he gets a 9.212. And Liu Wei did much better. This will be her best score of the day, without question, 9.575. And she gets a nice cheer from the people here in St. Petersburg. Still to come, Elise Ray and Alana Slater of Australia, as they'll take on the balance beam and each other in a moment. All gymnastics fans know the name Shannon Miller, and as a result, the name of her coach, Peggy Liddick, there on the left. Peggy tried to get involved in USA Gymnastics, but when that didn't work out, she found out that in Australia, they were all ears. Her years of work with Shannon led to Olympic gold on the beam in Atlanta.
What? Lift back. Your arms are already back on that kick. Don't cover your face. Arms already back. Yes. Yeah, I can't tell you how much
But
better
Shannon
that was.
retired, and Peggy Liddick made her move down under.
It can't be average. It has to be spectacular to match the rest of the routine.
First of all, you have to remember that I didn't go to Australia for gymnastics. So as far as an Australian-USA rivalry type situation, there is none. That was not the intention whatsoever.
Whatever her reason for moving to Australia, Peggy Liddick has done for the Australian women's team what USA Gymnastics wants Bella Caroli to do right now. She led her squad to a surprise 5th place at the World Championships, beating her former country to boot.
It wasn't my intention to go out and beat the USA. It was not to beat ourselves. And the girls had performed the way they had prepared, and that's all I could ask of them. And it wasn't anything above my expectations whatsoever. It was totally met my expectations. Seeing these gymnasts who they just totally did not think that they were any better than 11th place, because that's what everybody kept telling them. And to me, I came in with, number 11, who wants to be 11? And I'm just the crazy American. And I'm like, okay, if they want to, I'll use it to my advantage, because I don't have to believe that. And they have this thing in Australia called the tall poppy syndrome, where if anybody gets, a little higher than all the rest of the poppies, they tend to be chopped down so that everybody stays the same. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm saying I don't know about that. And that's not how I'm creating my team or preparing them for any competition.
Beating the USA at Worlds did throw down the gauntlet in a battle that should continue until the Olympic Games, where that home field Aussie advantage may come into play.
If you look at the scoring at World Championships, we weren't all that far from the bronze medal. And there's probably about 5 teams that are chasing that, including the USA. And it'll be a really good battle for that bronze medal. There's about 3 teams that'll be fighting for the gold and silver. And then the bronze is wide open. And I'm hoping that, as in Atlanta, that the momentum will be a little bit on our side.